Okay, my watch says 7:30, so we'll, just, thank you, Carolyn. So, Briaroaks City Council is now in session. Roll call, please.
Mayor Jerry Mabry,
Here.
Councilmember Andy Bode,
Here.
Phillip Laux,
Here.
Jack Perkey,
Here.
Terri Witcher,
Here.
Carolyn Johnson. Here. All are present, we do have a quorum.
We need to review and approve the minutes for the August 2nd, 21 meeting.
The meeting was called to order at 7:30 p.m. by Mayor Mr. Jerry D. Mabry. Roll call, Mayor Mabry, Councilmembers Andy Bode, Phillip Laux, Jack Perkey, Terri Witcher, Carolyn Johnson. Review and approve the minutes from the June 7, 2021 meeting. Secretary Alvin read the minutes. Mayor Mabry asked for a motion to accept the meeting minutes, and Councilmember Perkey made the motion. Councilmember Bode spoke about the approval of a treasurer report and questioned who seconded the first motion. It was made known that Councilmember Perkey seconded it. It was thought that Councilmember Perkey seconded the motion on the floor. Mayor Mabry called for the vote. 5-0 in favor, motion carried. Review and approve treasurer's report. Mayor Mabry asked Secretary Alvin to present the report. Secretary Alvin stated she didn't prepare a mayor report because at the June 7th meeting, those duties were removed. Councilmember Bode didn't provide statements from June or July when the new accounts he opened. Councilmember Witcher asked for a detailed report of the accounts, checks written, etc. Councilmember Bode was an authorized signer on the previous accounts. Mayor Mabry and Mr. Bode did not provide council with any financial information prepared for review. They did not know how much money the city has. Animal control report. Secretary Alvin read the June and July reports as well as a resignation letter effective August 1, 2021 for our animal control employee. A copy of the letter will be on file with the city. Police report. No police report as we don't have someone on staff. Resident Mr. Fields to address council. Mr. Mabry apologized to him for not being able to speak at the last meeting. He asked the council to be proactive in enforcing the ordinances as the bricks he spoke about in June had not yet been removed, after two council members had said they spoke with the resident that same week. He wants the city to utilize other local municipalities in an effort to hire a code compliance person so our property values don't decline. He wants to host a fall event so that residents can meet and mingle with our city officials. He's happy to organize the event and other guests were supportive of the idea. Immediate financial needs. Discussion and possible action on why the city bank accounts were closed. Mayor Mabry directed Councilmember Bode to speak on the topic. He stated the reason is that council approved to have Mayor Mabry pay the bills, which is contrary to what the June meeting stated. The reason the mayor was added is so he would have authorization to sign checks if a need arose. After the accounts were closed, several outstanding items were returned insufficient. These are being applied to the city. Councilmember Bode and Mayor Mabry had given specific instructions on several items needing to be paid to Ms. Alvin. Accounts were closed while these were outstanding. Councilmember Witcher made a motion to have an audit with the CPA. Councilmember Bode seconded it. 5-0 in favor, motion carried. More detail will be provided in a later audit because Councilmember Bode and Mayor Mabry did not give the details. Discussion and possible action on why Mr. Bode and Mayor Mabry chose to not pay outstanding items that needed to be paid. No action taken. Items will be discussed in an audit. City employees were not paid on time for June or July. Discussion and possible action on updating accounts receivable. No action taken. Council was informed that the items were being updated by Mayor Mabry and Councilmember Bode. All items will be seen during audit. Discussion and possible action on updating all city records with all affected parties. No action taken. Councilmember Bode doesn't know the specifics, only knows general items. All items will be seen during an audit. Concerning the storage facility. Given that Councilmember Bode allowed unauthorized persons to access the city storage facility when the account was under his control, Councilmember Witcher made a motion that only city council members and the city secretary are the ones to have access to the city storage facility. Councilmember Bode seconded. 4-0 in favor, motion carried. Councilmember Johnson abstained. Keys were then distributed and signed for by Mayor Mabry and Councilmembers Johnson, Bode, and Butcher. Discussion and possible action regarding the status of Mr. Bode's progress on the background check from the city secretary. Councilmember Bode has taken no action regarding the issue. No information was provided. No forms were brought to the meeting for review or signature. Mr. Bode said the point was moved now and that the city would now need to have an audit completed. Mr. Bode was asked why he didn't do what he said he was going to do. No response other than he didn't give a date when he was going to complete it and he would do it when he's ready. He is choosing to not do what he said he was going to do and yes, become upset. Councilmember Witcher makes a motion to do the background check and there was no second. Motion died. No further action taken. Discussion and possible action regarding obtaining a city attorney. Councilmember Bode said he talked with every attorney on the list he obtained in February. He said that he's learned only 2 on the list provided by TML would help cities in Johnson County. Paul Wineski and Taylor Olson, Atkins, Schrolla, and LLP. Mayor Mabry said that during a special meeting being called within 30 days to discuss a CPA to hire for the audit, they will also review attorneys that agree to come. No date given for the special meeting at this time. Review and audit all outstanding items and review and audit all new bank accounts. No documents or information was provided by Mayor Mabry or Councilmember Bode. No information was brought to the meeting for review. All items will be seen during an audit. City website email accounts for mayor and communications need to be reviewed. Councilmember Bode and Mayor Mabry had not paid this bill and it was more than 30 days late. All council members were notified on June 30th by the city secretary after she learned that the bank accounts were closed and that the mayor and Mr. Bode was going to be taking care of things. Ms. Alfred also informed all in that same June 30th email, so sorry, look out, Brad, to make sure that all affected parties were updated. There has been no request for information from Ms. Alfred regarding any outstanding items. Adjournment. A motion to adjourn was made by Councilmember Perkey, seconded by Councilmember Richard, at 9:14 p.m. with a vote of 5 in favor. Motion carried. The video recording of the meeting is posted on the city's website.
Any discretion, minutes,
Mayor Mabry, I'd like to take the floor, please.
you got it, go ahead.
Okay, this is in regard to number 4. It's stated that Mayor Mabry and Councilman Bode didn't know how much money the city has. Councilman Bode gave us a ballpark figure that totaled about $300,000. It may not be exact, but close. The secretary was in possession of the checkbooks even after Mayor Mabry requested them at the June meeting. All right, number 11, concerning storage facility. Councilman Bode is accused of allowing unauthorized persons to access the city storage facility, which he strongly denied. Since it could not be proved one way or the other, why did the secretary say that he allowed it? But at one point, sometime earlier, the secretary had changed the code on the storage unit without letting the council know, thus effectively locking members of the council out. Number 15. There would have been no need to close the old bank accounts if the secretary had given Mayor Mabry the checkbooks as he repeatedly asked for and was his right to do so. I could find no law or ruling from the Attorney General's opinions that stated she would be in violation if she turned them over. In fact, I had a conversation with the Johnson County judge about this, and he told me she was being insubordinate and should have been fired. We could have had a smooth transition from the former mayor to the new mayor and have avoided all the chaos and misunderstanding with payroll checks being late while waiting on the new checks to arrive if the secretary had been cooperative and turned the checkbooks over as was requested and was her duty. I consider these August 2nd, 2021 meeting minutes a hatchet job with the hatchet buried in the backs of Mayor Mabry and Councilman Bode. Therefore, I will not vote to approve these minutes. I will not vote yes to approve these minutes.
I'd like to speak on that too, after it's my turn.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Now, on the treasurer's report, as far as, well, let's go through this in order. The storage building, yes, everybody was on that, I can prove that.
I would like to say something about that.
No, I listened to the whole thing, and I
Okay.
expect the same.
Whenever you're done.
Okay, that's fine.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay. And we can prove that. So, yes, that was the
Prove what?
problem, that Deborah Bode was on the storage building account.
He did not let unauthorized people in there, is what I said.
Nobody should be on that account except for the city council. Why would somebody's wife on the council be able to access the city storage building? That was the problem.
I don't know, but I didn't say that.
Well, you said
She
there's no
was
proof, and there is
accused,
proof.
he was accused of letting unauthorized people in there, and he said he wasn't. It couldn't be proved. Why was it put in the minutes?
Nobody can prove that she was in there or not.
I wasn't talking about her. She wasn't even mentioned.
Oh, well, I guess that was probably professional that she didn't call her out like that and not put her name in the minutes. If we were at the
I'm
meeting.
not even talking about that.
And then, talking about the checking account, that was not approved by the city council for that checking account to be shut down. It's almost like y'all just went and did whatever you wanted, and it did cost the city money. A lot of, several hundreds of them, I can tell. Not to mention payroll, which when payroll isn't done on time, that's actually a federal offense.
The mayor had the right to do so, to close those accounts. That was the mayor's prerogative.
And I think that's something the council should, because what should cost the city, don't you see the ramifications of doing such a thing? So that's.
Yeah, if the old checkbooks had been turned over as the mayor requested, it wouldn't have happened. None of this would have happened. It would have been a smooth transition from the old mayor to the new mayor. It wasn't done that way. She will not give up the old checkbooks, she still has them.
No, I don't.
Where are they?
They're in storage.
Well, why didn't you give them to the mayor as he requested?
They're not good anymore. You guys turned.
No, they're not good anymore, but they were when he requested them.
Right.
That's why he closed the accounts.
I understand that. At the time, I couldn't turn them over. They were still active. So I'm not going to turn over active checkbooks.
Yes, he requested them. How do you think the old mayor got them? The former mayor got them. They were turned over to the former mayor.
He didn't have a secretary.
Well, we did.
No. we didn't.
Yes, we did.
We
Yes,
had
we
Ms.
ever
Foster,
did.
and she quit.
after she turned that stuff in.
To the mayor, if you didn't have a secretary. So who's supposed to take it? The mayor.
Has
Who
he
else? We
replaced
don't have a secretary. So Ms. Foster resigns. The only person to hand them over to is the mayor until you hire a secretary.
Well, you should have handed them over to him when he requested them.
I said I would bring them to a meeting for everybody on council.
That was not the issue,
What's the issue?
that you didn't turn them over to the mayor when he requested them.
I'm not to turn them over to the mayor. I've already presented the laws to you guys before. The treasurer and secretary holds the checkbooks.
You were not the treasurer at the time.
Wait, I've never been the treasurer?
The treasurer, did you put up a bond?
Well, she doesn't put the bond, the city puts a bond on her, if that's what you're requiring. But her job description did say that. She's a treasurer.
Let's get back on something on the agenda. Carolyn, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. Okay,
My turn.
yep,
As far as the storage unit is concerned, I had no idea what they were talking about, so I went back and I found the document, I found my copy. And there is, if you read it, why would I give my wife, and not myself, access? It was a clerical error on the part of the person who copied it down. And it was my fault that I missed it when I went through. I admit I missed it. Because I had to fill out an information form. And there was a space there for spouse, and then I filled it out not thinking, and that's the name that was transferred over. But at no time, she's never set foot in it. The only people that have been myself, Karen Schrader, and Kelly.
I'm not saying anything.
I just want to clear that up because I had no clue what y'all were talking about. Okay, on number 8. See, it's the end of the second sentence, where it says, which is contrary to what the June meeting stated. That is your opinion. That was not part of the meeting. That needs to be stricken. On number 9, items will be discussed in an audit. That's your opinion. It was not discussed that way. Number 11 says Councilman Bode doesn't know the specifics, only knows general items. All items will be seen during the audit. Well, I did give the information that I had. And the very end of that is also your opinion and should be stricken. On number 12, last page. And the sentence said he is choosing to not do what he said he was going to do. That is definitely your opinion. None of your opinions should ever show up in meeting minutes. You can only put in what was discussed, what was acted upon, period. That's all I got to say.
okay.
Thanks.
Did I hear a motion to approve, disapprove minutes of August 2nd?
Make a motion to approve the August 2nd minutes as corrected.
All in favor?
Who seconded?
That's a lot of corrections. I think I'd like to see a corrected copy.
You second it, what?
No, I did not.
No second?
Do we need to discuss it further?
What did you say?
I said, that's a lot of corrections. I believe I have to see the corrected copy
I'm sorry.
for us to agree on before I can vote. Because that's a lot of corrections, there's disagreements from one end of this room to the other. In my opinion, you can't say as corrected and we get a different opinion on it. So we don't agree on it. If it's from one end of the room to the other, I'm just saying it's, as corrected as a general statement. I mean, it could be corrected to him and not corrected to me. Corrected to you and not corrected to her, in my opinion. So, does that make sense? I have trouble voting on as corrected,
I see what you meant.
so I cannot second it, no, sir.
Should we wait till the next meeting? Approve this with the, have the, have it up.
Corrected, you may not be corrected.
It's
a very general
statement. That way?
Very general.
All right, well, let's place, readings on the next agenda.
Was that on both of them or just one?
Well, only done on the second.
Just that one, I think. Yep. We read the other.
That's the only one I'm speaking on, is on the break.
Okay.
Okay? Next will be the reading and approve minutes for August 23 meeting.
Call to order. The meeting was called to order at 7:30 p.m. by Mayor Mr. Gary D. Mabry. Roll call. Mayor Mabry, Councilmembers Andy Bode, Phillip, Laux, Jack Perkey, Terri Richard, Carolyn Johnson. Discussion and possible action on what a potential CPA and or attorney firm requires from the city to determine if they will take us on as a client. Councilmember Witcher stated that Anderson, Marks, and Laux CPA qualifies to run an audit. Council reviewed the information provided and she read the questions out loud for guests to hear what was being requested of the city. Mayor Mabry asked for a motion that we give this from the information they are required of. Councilmember Witcher motion. Councilmember Laux said we need to discuss the questions on the sheet first. Discussion on how far back to audit was had. Councilmember Witcher's motion was seconded by Councilmember Laux. 5 vote in favor, motion carried. Councilmember Witcher made a motion that the audit start with 3 years, seconded by Councilmember Perkey. 5 vote in favor, motion carried. Councilmember Witcher passed out information from the attorney she contacted, Mr. Paul Mineski. The council reviewed the information and she read it aloud for guests to hear what was being requested of the city. Mayor Mabry asked Councilmember Bode if he has any comments. He said he talked to Olson of TOAS. They serve 45 cities in the Metroplex, have 20 plus attorneys, and are all municipal. They will need to attend all meetings, are available by phone, email, and work closely with the city contact. They'll help with ordinances, resolutions, planning and zoning, anything the city would require. There's a partner level, anyone with 8+ years experience for $235 an hour, or $210 an hour for an associate with less than 8 years experience. No upfront costs. If they don't need to attend a meeting, they won't show up. The city can determine what level of attorney is needed and pay accordingly. Councilmember Laux asked for a list of items they need from us. Councilmember Bode said that they work with Burleson and Cross Timber. They have determined there isn't a conflict of interest, and if there is, they have multiple attorneys. asked if there was a minimum minutes charged by hourly rate. Mr. Fields asked if there is a mobile rate. Councilmember Bode said they don't require a retainer, work with us on an as-needed basis. Also, they discussed with us if litigation were needed and discussed the fee at that time. Councilmember Laux made a motion to invite them in at the next meeting, seconded by Councilmember Perkey. 5-0 in favor, motion carried. Discussion and possible action on background check for the city secretary. Councilmember Bode said he sent a certified letter to Ms. Alvin's home address with return receipt requested. Ms. Alvin says she hasn't received anything that's intended for an employee to fill out and send back information to a third party. Councilmember Richard reads information to support to table the request of a background check until it can be reviewed by the city attorney. Councilmember Richard made a motion to table the background check until the city attorney can review. Councilmember Laux asked what kind of background check was going to be run. Councilmember Bode said it was going to run it himself through DPS, which is a direct conflict with what has been represented to Ms. Alvin and prior employees. This type of background will ask for prior felony convictions. Councilmember Richard wants to avoid any discrimination and potential lawsuit issues. The motion was seconded by Councilmember Bode. 5-0 in favor, motion carried. Adjournment. A motion to adjourn was made by Councilmember Bode, seconded by Councilmember Richard at 8 p.m. with a vote of 5-0 in favor, motion carried. A video recording of the meeting is posted on the city's website.
Okay. We have a motion.
On number 3, on the second page, where it says Mr. Field asked if there was, what I think he asked was there a mobilization charge? I think that's what he said,
The travel rate.
something like that, yeah. And number 4, it says, Councilmember Bode stated he was going to run himself in DPS. The rest of that sentence, which is a direct conflict and what had been represented to Ms. Alvin in prior ways, needs to be stricken. That is your opinion again.
It's on the application, so that has been represented to me.
It was not acted upon. It is a statement of your opinion put in there. The fact that I said that I was asked what I was going to run, and that's what I said, we had already determined if we wanted to do that.
I don't know, can you repeat that? Councilmember Bode said, who's gonna run? He's gonna run it himself in DPS? Is that what you're trying to instruct?
She wants you to repeat what you said.
As far as right after DPS, which is when it starts with which is a direct conflict with what has been represented to Ms. Alvin prior to that is her opinion. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. And it was not a part of the meeting. If someone wants to contradict that, by all means. That was just my comments.
Any other comments? Okay, I hear a motion to approve the minutes of August 23, 21.
I make a motion to pass the minutes of August 23rd as read and corrected.
A second. I second.
You say, all in favor? Approved. There's you and approve the treasurer's report from May, June, July, August. And second quarter report. And
Okay. Financial report for May 2021. From the general account, beginning balance $200,336.22. Income. The first one is unknown 5324. I assume that it's Southwestern Bell. I have no proof one way or the other, but I included the amount in there. For the comptroller, we got $5,150.93 for a total of $5,204.17 for the month. Checks. There was a check for $12.75 written to G Suite, which is for the Briaroaks website. UPS, $18.14. AT&T, $165.42. Election payroll, $2,160. Secretary pay for February, March, April, and May all came through on the same day for $2,000. Also, the same day, secretary reimbursement for $450.58. Newspaper election notice cost $95.50. T-Mobile for May of 2021 was $84.65. AT&T Mobility for May is outstanding for $81.57. Safety deposit rental of $20 for a grand total of $4,925.47 per month. Ending balance $200,614.92. For the special account, beginning balance was $3,823.52. One check was written to animal control for $75. Total from the month is $75. Ending balance $3,748.52. For the savings account, we had beginning balance of $8,319.55. Deposits from first CD ending 7685 for $4.93. CD interest earned on 4425 was $3.29. CD interest on 4427 was $6.58 for a total of $14.80. Ending balance $8,334.35.
We're gonna talk about each one of these, each month, or just at the end, yeah? That's my question. If we have any questions, we're gonna ask this month and that, not just at the end, right? I have a couple of questions.
For utilities,
I have a couple of questions.
She wants to discuss May before we go to June.
Yes. We have any questions? Why can't I ask that you called out, the animal control officer's name, that usually just says animal control? And why did you say? That's really all I have. No, it's not, but then it says next month it's animal control, okay, we move back to.
I just wanted to be sure that I could read these all at the same time, and the way that it's written, I can't. Next. June financial report 2021. Journal account, beginning balance $200,614.92. Income for the month $267.01. Once again, it's an unknown amount. I assume that it's Southwestern Bell. We received from the comptroller $4,542.24 for a total of $4,809.25. Checks written. Another check for $12.79 written to the G Suite for Briaroaks website. There was a check that ran through for $123.04 for Staples Direct. Copy fees of $30. Laux.com, the website, $17.99. USPS, $11. Assuming the stamps. AT&T Mobility, June 2021, $81.57. Overcash Computer, $154. Storage Depot, and that was for 13 months, since it was paid 1 year in advance, $975.30. T-Mobile, May 2021, $84.65, for a total of $1,490.34 for the month. Ending balance, $203,933.83. Special account, beginning balance, $3,748.52. Checks written, copy fees, $30. Animal control payroll, $69.26. Secretary payroll is wrong account, $463.60. For $562.86 in total. Ending balance, $3,185.66. Savings account, beginning balance, $8,334.35. Deposits, CD interest, $7,685 for $5.09. CD interest, $4,425 for $3.40. CD interest, $4,427, $6.79 for a total of $15.28. Ending balance, $8,349.63. Okay, now, second quarter report.
We're gonna go through the whole thing, or we're gonna ask questions? What do we have a question on this? We're gonna read them all first.
You guys have a question, read them all first, or go over individually?
Well, the way that it's in here, if we want to go with division, I'm good with that, I don't care.
And we got $30 copy fees at two different accounts.
Right, I didn't write those.
Those are fees to the bank for missing bank statements. Needed to complete a PIR request.
Okay, so that's from the bank.
Yes,
We're not writing checks at two different accounts.
correct. It's copies of bank statements
Okay,
to be printed versus sent.
that's why we're doing that at two different accounts.
Yes, it was for both accounts. Can I talk about something on this one? Can I? Yep.
If you have questions as I read them, ask them then, that's fine.
So why do you have that my payroll check was $463.60?
Yes, $463.60.
I have never received a check in the amount of $463.60.
You have it.
No, sir.
Why did it go through? Because that was, if I remember correctly, that was direct deposit,
Yes.
according to the information that I have. That was done under your watch. I don't know.
Okay, so
I can only go by what I saw on a printout.
that you received from the payroll company,
But you say you did not receive that.
not that amount. have you paid for the payroll company?
I can't look into it.
And you also state that it's paid out of the wrong account. Why is it justified that it's paid out of the wrong account?
It was the wrong account because it came out of the special account. You were paid out of the general account. And only the police and animal control were paid out of the special account. It was set up wrong with overcash.
And where is that notated? Because when I spoke with Overcash, you pay out of one account, and if you need to pay my payroll, you make a transaction from the general account to the special account to cover those funds.
That is not the way it came across. It came out of the special account.
Yes, because
That's the way they
that's the
set it
account,
up.
that's the
Whoever
account
set
set up
it
over
up.
there. So where is it you're saying that it's paid wrong? Was the documents on file with the city that I failed to present to Overcash?
All I can go by is what I had on the printout. You didn't give me the information that I asked
No,
for.
I'm asking you. You're telling me it's paid out of the wrong account for everybody. It's notated here that it's paid out of the wrong account.
Yes.
So if I pay it out of the wrong account, instead of being corrected with Overcash, where is the document on file with the city that says it's only to be paid out of the special account or the general account?
We would have to find out why Overcash paid you out of the wrong account.
That's the account I gave them.
Why did you give them the wrong account?
She doesn't understand that the special account is the police and the
Right, it's
legal
the police
account.
and the animal control account.
So that's what I'm asking. Where is that document on file with the city that explains that? And I'll take responsibility for doing it wrong.
It's not the first set of checks that were written from those accounts by you. Or am I mistaken?
What do you mean?
When did you start writing checks?
Not till May.
In
We
May?
have checks in May, April, May. Let's see. I don't have it. So,
Because in May, Vicky is the only one that was paid $75. You were paid out of the general account then, and you kept all of them put through on the same day, along with the reimbursement for 450.58.
okay. What does that have to do?
So you got paid for each one of those was $500.
Right.
Okay.
I'm just asking, where is it that states that all the money to be paid to employees has to come out of like separate accounts or one account? All I'm asking is where is the document that states?
That is the way they were set up prior to me becoming a part of the council. It was already set up that way. I was merely following
Okay,
tradition.
okay. But there's no document.
Well,
You tell me one way or the other.
it is set up in the budget that way, that it's paid out of the
Yeah.
general
And
account.
it's set up that way, and all the budgets up to that point, including the ones in this year. That's why there is a special account and a general account.
Does the budget state that,
And I don't know why it was set up that way.
That's very confusing.
Do they have, does the police have to pay that separate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah,
I asked the question before,
They don't, no.
but we have so many years of
So is that what
documents that is paid, police are only paid out of special account. And it's, I mean, we're talking 25, 30 years.
No, it's anything, because that's the way.
It's like,
So
it's
there's no
totally, I
official
don't know
document,
why.
no official document, no
I
policy, no
have no
law.
idea.
There could be.
So much was destroyed when this building flooded, I have
his
no
answer,
idea.
I think his answer is it's in the budget that way. But it's also, I think it's probably not that big a deal, easily correct. Would you disagree?
I don't know.
Yeah, but you do need to follow the budget, so that
If you
can
see the budget this way, you
That
do
can
it
be
this way, but it's easily correctable because it's obviously confusing.
It'd been nice if somebody should have told her instead of making a call out, like she did something wrong.
So, yeah,
Somebody should call that.
it's obviously confusing because we're all sitting here scratching our heads trying to figure it out. So,
Well, I can say that for 36, 37 years, they would never, this would be, document statement on which counts pay, what the counts pay. There was never anything, to my knowledge, that was ever
looking for
shown.
let's see, but, like I said, something. But,
I mean, it's corrected now. It's corrected now, but it's not right.
At this point, I can swear
Do you have two accounts established?
to,
Do you have two accounts established at overdraft?
yes, there are two accounts, the general and the special, and the savings.
but all right, the answer is however it's in the budget, okay?
And I'm not saying that's why those, the journal and special are separated.
It's obviously confused, but easily corrected.
That's a tradition up to this point, from what I know. Okay. Any more questions on that? Okay, second quarter report. On the general account, the beginning balance was $180,836.67. The ending balance, $203,933.83, for a net change of $23,087.16. The special account, beginning balance, $3,898.52, ending balance, $2,622.80. Net change, it went down $1,200.75, $1,200.75.72. Savings, beginning balance, $8,304.06, ending balance, $8,349.63. For a net change plus $45.57. The total net change for the quarter was $21,857.01. Income for the quarter, comptroller, we received $13,002.41. From United Co-op, we received $16,885.96. Other, like I said, I assumed it is Southwestern Bell, $320.25. For a total of $30,208.62. Okay, expenses. Payroll. On the special account was $682.86. And copy fees of $30. For a grand total of $712.86 written from the special account, with the notation that the $463.60 came from the home account. Just to match up that one. Now we'll check it. Okay, for the general account, payroll, $2,000. Election payroll, $2,160. Payroll services, $154. Election supplies, $568.62. Phones, $500.94. Website, $109.84. Storage, $175.30. Safety deposit box rent, $20. Office supplies, $123.04. USPS, $29.14. Copy fees, $30 again. Secretary reimbursement, $450.58 for a total of $7,121.46 out of the general account for that quarter. On investments, we have 8 CDs that have a current balance as of this date for that was $182,145.22. Interest earned for the quarter, $393.74.
How come you don't know the figure on the other?
On the other,
Yeah, the income.
in the income section, at the top,
Is it
it's
on a
$320.45.
Where does that come from?
Like I said, I don't know. There's not enough information on that. I did not receive the information from Kelly
Did you request
on
something?
that. So I assume that it's Southwestern Bell, is it? Okay. That's all I was looking for, Southwestern Bell, thank you. Anything else on the second quarter? Okay, now we're up to July 2021. General account beginning balance $203,000, $203,933.83. No income for that month. Checks written, wire fee $25, wire transfer to Intuit returns account for Secretary of Payroll $563.60. Checks. A check order from Harlan Clark was $211.42. Total cash and jewelry $12. T-Mobile, May 2021, $84.65. AT&T Mobility, May 2021 was $193.19. For a total of $1,089.86. With an ending balance of $202,000. $202,843.97. Special account, beginning balance, $3,185.66. Checks, check order, Harlan Clark, $207.09. Let's see. Animal control was not paid that month. We did not receive the email for total cash and bill sent to the secretary at that point. So the grand total was $207.09 from the special account. Ending balance was $2,978.57. The savings, beginning balance, $8,349.63. Deposits, CD interest for 7685 was $4.93. CD interest for 4425 was $3.29. CD interest for 4427 was $6.58. For a total of $14.80. Ending balance, $8,364.43.
I have some questions. Okay, on this special account, on the checks, below that, animal control payroll, not paid, email from total cash, and we will not forward it to the city secretary,
Yes.
from the city secretary.
Over cash had sent an email to the secretary. And we cannot pay because of the way that it's set up until you receive that, because you have to give them a copy of it by mail report, however. But you have to have that in order to know how much to pay them.
The mayor knew
It's
how much
different
to
from
pay.
one month to the next sometimes.
I called him to ask who was gonna write that check and gave him the number over the phone. At no time was it requested of me to send the pay stub, because you all apparently had already closed the account, so they were, you told me on the phone they were closed, and had been in contact with Overcash. It was never requested that I provided the information to complete that transaction.
Okay. But I still had to write something down to explain why it was.
So the only reason why she didn't get paid is you're saying because you didn't receive a pay stub. When you were already in contact
Right.
with the payroll company.
It is essentially a waste of.
And then he said she was going to be paid when checks were received. When did checks come in the mail?
So, until we received those pay stubs, a physical copy of it, we could not write the check. So it didn't happen then. It happened the next week.
But you never asked me for it.
You can't ask somebody if you don't know that it's supposed to be there. We
But you
didn't
knew
know,
that. You just said
honestly,
you didn't pay it because you thought you needed the pay stub.
honestly, we didn't know when you even started up the thing with overcash. Never heard a word about it.
It was voted for.
That was April,
I
so
can't-
why didn't
You
you
heard
let
about it
us
maybe,
know?
but I didn't. I can't speak for the other members. I'm just saying, I didn't hear about it, and I put this down. Until I received that, I wasn't going to write the check.
Is payroll, are we using that payroll company that we pay for, are we using that? Because why are we providing annual checks if we have a payroll company? I don't understand that. The city
I'm
council
sorry,
wrote
that
for
was
a
the way,
payroll
that was
company.
the way it was set up. I didn't set it up.
No, you're doing manual checks now, aren't you? Yes.
Yeah,
We
ma'am.
received an email Friday that the city secretary.
I write the check. They go in an envelope, they get paid. It's magic.
Why, we voted to have a payroll company. Everybody here did.
Yeah.
So who voted not to?
Why was it set up that way? I didn't set it up. I'm going by the rules as given to me, period.
So because there was a hiccup in that, because y'all shut down moved the accounts, and there was a lot of no communication, now we're not gonna use the payroll company anymore?
There's a lot of communication problem on everybody's part. It's not just, you're just pointing the finger over here, there's three more pointing at you.
It was voted on, so now
It
you're
was-
saying it's not gonna happen?
A lot of things were voted on, that's correct.
Yeah, and that was one of them. So it just basically got taken away from us, our vote didn't count. That's not right. So, another thing I'd like to call out in here, this wire fee. Would you like to explain why we have that and why this payroll amount, this $563.60, also includes $100 bounce check fee, which we got proof of from Intuit? Because they didn't know that
As
the
a matter of
fact
fact,
that
all of that
the
was
accounts
covered
were
as
changed.
the last meeting.
So the payroll checks bounce, and this is included, it really needs to be broken up.
Yeah.
There's payroll plus $100 overdraft fee included in that. And I believe that's what the wire fee has something to do with the payroll.
The only thing that I can tell you about it is because it bounced. It was sent direct deposit and it bounced. So in
So
order
what's
to
the
get the
in that
money,
account?
excuse me, in order for her to get the money, there was a penalty. The penalty was paid. Everything is set up according to their rules. Whoever the rules that set up the account. And that's all I can tell you about it.
So why aren't the fees broken out into line items? It looks like I got paid that amount. So why are they not broken out? My payroll, the fees associated with it.
It is broken out.
No, it's not. It just said this is Kelly's payroll plus $100 for overdraft fee. And it was paid separately, that needs to be
Well,
called out.
let me put it this way. When it says the wire transfer to Intuit returns, the check itself was $563.60. Now, if you want me to add in there that $100 of that was a fee, I can do that. That is not a problem.
I think so, because it looks like, it really looks like Kelly got paid $563, and she did not.
Then I will add the $100 of that. Make a notation, $100 of that was the fee.
And I need to ask about these AT&T bills. They go from over here to 193.19. It starts out at 165.42. Then it goes to 81.57. Why do they fluctuate so? Were these like late bills for you to like double, over double? Can you tell me how come they double?
I'm going by the numbers. I didn't have part of that.
Yeah, the same.
Which part are you talking about?
The AT&T bill each month, it starts out
Which bill?
May is 165.42. June is 8157.
Their
Okay.
fees,
And then,
On the May, the reason that is darkened out, because it is outstanding. The check was written, it did not go through that.
no, but the check's AT&T 16542. Is that okay? Yeah, that is.
Are we in May again?
What about,
165.42, I did not write that check, I can't speak for that.
okay, how come
You
it
have to ask
goes
her.
from in June 8157 to, in July, it's 193.19?
But it also says May again, with a
Are
different
you,
amount.
are you just trying to confuse me about switching months or what?
Oh, why does it say May over here? In
When the
July.
bill comes, I really write the amount that's on that bill. I don't call them and ask them why is a penny off or double or whatever. That's just what it is.
But why is it,
It's legal documentation. When I get it, so I prove the check.
But why does it say AT&T Mobility May on the July report for 193.19, but you have AT&T Mobility May in May for negative 81.57? You have May listed twice with two different amounts.
I've got the bills, what do you want? You've got the other bills that I've never seen.
Well, why would May be listed in two different amounts?
You have to call them and ask them if you want to know
Well,
that.
don't you have this
I
statement?
don't know.
Why would, so you just pay the bill
When
and know what it
you,
is?
when you get a bill, if it is within reason, you pay the bill. If it's extremely out, then you would ask questions and call them. Which we did. Not on that particular one.
Then how do we have two different amounts for May?
So I don't understand what you're talking about, because
You have May for July, 193.19. Then you have May's report, May's highlighted, in negative 81.57. I have a copy of the May.
Now, which-
like,
okay, in May,
81.57.
in May, which one are you talking about?
I'm just saying you have a discrepancy of two Mays on your financials with two different amounts. So what's the May in July?
Are you talking about AT&T for 165.42 and then the outstanding AT&T mobility for 81.57?
No.
No, there, and look at July. It says AT&T, May 2021 is 193. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay, they're asking why it says on the May statement, outstanding, it was 8167. Why is there two different amounts? I think that's what they're asking. They have two different people going
Yes.
in different directions.
That's the question, yes.
Okay,
It looks like
that
something
would
got
be,
combined.
just to make sure. Both of those should read July, you are correct.
So the T-Mobile May 2021 and AT&T Mobile May on the
Those
July
are
report.
both of T-Mobile and the AT&T mobility are for July, not May.
Okay.
Typo.
Did that happen in June as well? T-Mobile May 2021 in June?
AT&T mobile says June 2021.
T-Mobile is the bottom. June.
Yeah, T-Mobile.
That should read June, you're right. Okay. Be more, I agree.
lot of money on those checks that were used. Pull that out. Over $400 in that.
Okay. August 2021, general account, beginning balance $202,843.87. Income, comptroller, for the month of June, $4,458.43. Comptroller for July, $4,457.51. Southwestern Bell, $245.58. Total of $9,161.52. Checks ready. Texas Workforce, $31.05. IRS, $175.95. Overcash. Payroll reports, $93. T-Mobile Secretary Fund, $84.65. Gabbard, Texas Municipal Court Association, $37.50, our share with Cross County. AT&T Police Fund, Police Department Animal Control Funds, $124.53. Then there are 3 outstanding checks that were written from the Secretary, $461.75. UPS Box Room, $234. And another outstanding one for Kelly, $461.75. And the total for that month is $546.68. Ending balance $211,458.81. Special account beginning balance $2,978.57. Checks written. Let's see. One for Vicky for $69.26. That was, I believe, the July. And Vicky Perkey again for $69.27. That was the June. And Catherine Gabbard, $375 for a total of $513.53. Ending balance $2,465.04. Savings account, beginning balance $8,364.43. Deposit CD interest $7,685, $5.09. CD interest $4,425, $3.39. CD interest $4,427, $6.79 for a total of $15.27. Ending balance $8,379.70.
This is my question. On June's financial, you have a comptroller down as 4542.24. But on here, you have comptroller June 4458.43.
That's adding June and what?
Okay. We call another typo. The second one, the first one, the comptroller June, $4,458.43. That is June.
So is
That one was before we got direct deposit on that. Now, the second one is not July, it is August. It's $4,457.51.
So what money do we receive for the comptroller on the June statement?
That's why there was nothing listed on the June.
There is.
No, it's July. It's July.
Is it July? Well, then it's July.
So,
Is it?
yep,
Yeah.
that you have? So what's
So
your
it should
August?
be July and August.
Instead of June, July.
Okay,
So which amount is which?
that should read July.
Which one?
The one that says June.
And then the July should be August?
That's
Yes.
right, that's July.
I definitely have a question, and I'm sure you're more than I will, but Catherine Gabbard, we do not have a contract with this woman, and we've never had. The city council, before I even got on the council, had to approve her check. But for some reason, it's okay now that you'll have control of the checking accounts, to start paying somebody that we do not have a contract with, and the council has not voted on that. So you're spending money without the council even knowing it again. Why would you think that would be okay? Not, if you think she has a contract, then somebody should come up with it, because even when Mark was here before, there is no contract.
Once she is reinstated as judge, it's 2 years.
And that was voted on.
So
Is
we
that
would
correct?
increase,
Is it 2 years?
Yes.
but if we don't have a contract,
You don't
You
get
don't
a
get a
contract
We
with
didn't
the
have a
judge.
contract with the judge.
who said?
It was
we
approved,
don't
it was
even
approved
have
by the
board?
council when she was hired.
Was
That's
it?
all
Is
I'm
it some
saying. I wasn't
lifetime
there.
thing that we've done? If you don't have a municipal court, why are you paying for a municipal judge?
I can't answer your question, I wasn't there when she was hired.
I have her hire letter pulled up. Can I read it?
What?
Kathy Gabbard's hire letter.
Last time.
Her hire letter.
But-
Can I read it?
Yeah.
Terry, I'm gonna read Kathy Gabbard's hire letter.
I've never seen it, so.
January 17, 2006, to Ms. Gabbard at her address. Dear Kathy, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to the job of Briaroaks Municipal Court Judge. I'm sorry, there's typos, but I will be hired to fill the shoes of J.L. Finney, but everyone tells me that you are the one to do it. I am leaving it up to you and Janice, your court clerk, to decide whether to receive the court the last Wednesday of this month or begin in February. Let me know the decision, and Mayor Dunn and I will meet you at the fire hall to swear you in. The salary agreed upon is $75 a month for the first 2 months, and then depending on the caseload, we'll discuss the rates. Again, welcome. Sincerely, Mary Foster, Briaroaks City Secretary. That letter was written in between council meetings. There is no record of this being discussed in December or February.
What was the date on that?
January 17, 2006.
2006?
She was reinstated for, I don't remember the actual date. Martin. Yes. Michael. And it should have been. I came in and was sitting in Dick Carson's position, counselor. And it brought up, and I made the motion that we reinstate her for what we do. And it was approved. And I don't remember, I know you weren't secretary, so it would have been,
Ms. Foster.
no,
No.
no,
Ms. Terri.
it would have been the girl you took over, or one of them in there. They had,
Ms. Schreier.
okay. So it should have been on her watch.
Okay.
Hey, but you made a great point, really. The city council voted to pay her. So the council did have a quorum, and that's why it got paid. Notice paid.
Well, her tenure goes for 2 years. If you do not say, we don't want you anymore at the end of 2 years, it automatically continues the next 2 years.
So are we, I'm
doesn't
just looking
have a
at the meeting
contract.
minutes.
There's
So
nothing that
It's
says
not,
that.
you don't sign, it's like giving her an employment letter saying you're hired, okay? Is it until when? Although in the judge part, because I questioned this one, we talked about this, and I think Mr. Perkey is one that seconded the motion, that it continues automatically unless the council says no.
Why did we vote for it before, but now you don't think that you need to, and there is no contract? And that does not make sense to me.
Well, look it up in the code. Look it up in the code and you'll find
Why
out.
would you think we needed one when we don't have court?
Well-
Maybe if we started in,
Well,
Well,
if
that's
we have,
why we need to hire a policeman.
right,
that's another subject.
Yes, it is.
So
Let's get on with this.
Well, this,
Have we ever took anybody before?
Oh, yeah.
We haven't since Tom Pritchard was here, and that's been quite a while.
so why are we paying somebody continually who doesn't do anything for the city? Did you make some sort of oath to this woman?
Well, we
That's not in
told
writing
him we'll
anywhere?
get a policeman.
Yeah, I was at a meeting, I was sitting out here at a meeting when previous mayor brought up, we're paying this judge that we don't use.
can you give me a ballot when on the meeting minutes?
it would have been like,
I mean,
29, the end of 2019,
so the administrator came on in December of 19.
it would
There
have
was a
been,
gap between July and December, June, December.
it would have been about the December
We've
meeting
been
because
close to 2 years ago. He brought that up, and it was brought up in the meeting that if we don't have, under Texas law, we didn't have, and I'm no lawyer, if we didn't have an appointed judge, then, a mayor is a magistrate. And a lot of the council members didn't like the sound of the mayor being acting magistrate, and they voted to keep the
That's right.
magistrate that they had for the $200 a month.
The mayor called that woman repeatedly to see what she did do. She would
And
never
kept inviting her to the meetings, everything
ever
was to do.
return his call or his emails, he invited her to come up here to get the check. And she was a no-show, so you're paying for somebody that doesn't even speak. So I do not agree. You voted on it before, but because you took over the bank account, so you don't have to vote on it this time.
I believe whatever her term is, whatever agreement we had with her however many years ago, I honestly believe if we just stop paying her, nothing's gonna happen. Because we don't use her and she doesn't respond to the kind of contract. We should try to contact her and ask her, are we under contract or what happens if we stop, if we're gonna use her or we get somebody else. But I honestly believe if we stop paying her, what happens?
Well, what are you gonna do if, with the hopefully new policeman we get, if he writes tickets, we ain't got no judge? If you never know. The reason why, because of the fact that the previous mayors have told the policemen we had, do not write tickets.
Well,
Do
how
not
about
write tickets.
when we decide to have court, we'll get a judge.
Do what?
We've been paying for this woman for years.
Well, I'm okay with paying her if she'll show up. I'm okay with that. I just don't, I've never met her, I don't know her, I don't know if she's gonna respond to us or not.
Yeah.
Because
That's up to the council.
you know her. If you've met her, if you know her, I don't.
Well, I know.
Okay.
I can't find anything in the meeting minutes that you guys talked about from
It was a
2019
big-
to 2020.
It was a big
I was
discussion.
here. I remember.
So I'm like, I'm just saying.
It was a
I'm
big
looking over the
discussion,
meeting
we
minutes.
probably didn't have a secretary at the time. It was a
So,
big
I
discussion.
can probably find it in my notes.
but unfortunately, they're not official meeting minutes.
Right, but I was here, I know that.
If it's not in the records of the city, it didn't happen. So at this point, I can't find proof that you guys voted on anything, who was on council at the time, so you two weren't, but.
We did vote on
Okay, but I'm just saying, for
Okay.
record, there's no record of it.
Yeah, I remember, I wasn't on council yet, but I was at the meeting, and it was quite a big discussion of why we should not pay her, because honestly, she wouldn't respond to the mayor in any way, form, or fashion. So I don't think that she should have been paid here, especially without some sort of discussion. You shouldn't take it upon yourselves to come back and do that, especially when you set a precedence before the council voting on it. But now, I guess it's not needed. So I do not agree with that.
Any more comments on the financial?
So why is there an outstanding check for the USPS box run at 234 when I was instructed to write a check in June for 204 that I show here?
How much is it?
204, processed on June 21st, 2021 at 9:39 a.m.
And your question is, one in August?
Yes, sir. Why is it 234 with a different check number when mine was written in June?
What's your check number?
2695, that's what you asked me to come to your house to get, okay?
Well, now, we got a bill from,
I haven't seen that.
I paid it,
You may have paid it, and it may have come from the other. I didn't see it.
so you repaid.
I was
the
not
post
privy to
office?
that information. I asked for that information from you. I have not yet received it, and it's,
You guys have copies of everything. The mayor has had copies. So did you write, you paid the bill twice and now it's increased?
I have not seen it. I can't put it in here if I have not seen it. I had to dig to find the
So what's
information.
the invoice, what's the invoice for your 234?
I see nothing.
Andy, it's under the outstanding on August.
It's outstanding on
Yes.
234. Okay,
check number is 2210.
right.
Or
If it's
27.
outstanding, that means that it was written and it hasn't,
Do you have a receipt, a bill?
it hasn't come through.
Do you have a bill for it?
Yep, there's a bill.
Can we see it?
I do not have that bill with me.
Do you have any of them?
Where are any of the bills that you have?
They're right here.
No, you've never brought those.
These are copies.
Today, I can bring it. I know where it is.
So we don't know where the check that I wrote to the post office for the receipts I have.
You would have had, I know it, I haven't seen it.
So you guys closed the bank account. Where's the bank statements for this bank account? For this check to clear? Because I don't have access to that bank account anymore. You guys took me off.
I can't answer that.
Yeah, that was in March, right?
It was what?
Understand?
It was, I'm just saying, these checks were written. They did not go through the account as though
She wanted to know where all the bank statements were. for
these
these
bank
three
statements
accounts.
are at Jerry's.
They need to learn to enunciate clearly for people.
Is that the same page for the check I wrote of 2696 on June 17th at this direction that I had to come get for 2745 the ES&S? Is that check? A check that I wrote in June that has it cleared.
If you wrote it in June, it did not show up on any of my paperwork. That's what I said before. I haven't seen it. I did not include it. These numbers match the bank statements. That number never showed up. I don't know when you voted. I hear when you said you voted. I never saw it. If I don't see it, I cannot report it.
Were they turned down at the poll account?
Yes.
I'm just trying to be honest with you.
I mean, that could have bounced. If these were turned down at the poll account.
If it would have bounced, we would have got the bill on it. People aren't bashful about sending bills. They will send.
Did you bring the September checks, which you written September? You said you were last month.
That has never been done before. And I didn't think that it had to be done now.
You said last month that you were.
Well, we can all report on the previous months after we've got all the statements.
Yeah, I just thought you said you were, because this is a lot of grammar.
You can check back on all the minutes. That's the way that it's been done. Ordinarily going forward.
I'll agree with that, because I can't understand. These are meetings where we do the city business, we discuss the city business, we discuss the budget, we discuss the financial report. And my first meeting on council, where I was sworn in, the mayor looks at the secretary and says, I want a checkbook. She doesn't have it. I can't fathom why we're at the meetings doing financial business, talking about the city's business, talking about our rules, talking about our accounts. Nobody ever has a checkbook at the end of the meeting. I just, when I sit down and do my finances and all, I have a checkbook. Does that make sense?
The checkbook has always been at the meetings prior to that.
And no, I'm not volunteering to do it.
Okay, are there any more questions about the treasurer's report?
I think this one is, I would suggest we do it just like the minutes of the meeting, because there's so many changes in here. I don't know. Oh, yeah.
It should be correct.
It is, because I've got more questions. More
All right, I make a motion that we accept the treasurer's report and read and corrected.
Make that motion.
Motion been made. Any others? Second. All
Yeah, I would.
motion that is made and seconded that we approve the treasurer's report. All in favor?
You want to see the correct
Just like we're doing with the minutes, we want to see a correct copy.
They want to see all the corrections first.
You're opposed.
Opposed?
But,
That brings us to ten pass.
okay, so I made a motion that we see the correct copy.
Do one now?
Same as we did with the first minutes. We see a corrected copy before we vote, because there's so many corrections.
I'll second that.
As corrected is two general attorneys.
Good. Okay,
We didn't finish that. I second your motion.
Yes.
okay, all in favor? Vote on it, it's correct.
All in favor?
Laux voted yes.
All right, motion passed.
Mr. Mayor, can I say something?
Sure.
I would just like to say, and I would say this about anybody who did this. I don't want anybody to say, oh, it's Andy or Leslie. I'd say this about anybody. This is the very first time that I've lived here in 47 years that anyone has done any kind of report, and he get a quarterly report that no one else has ever done. And I'd like to give them a pat on the back for going through and spending a lot of time to do it. Because it's never been done before. We have no end-of-year financials ever. We have had nothing. And I would like to give them a pat on the back for doing that, because no one else, and he is an imperfect person, unlike other people in here. He did a damn good job.
Yeah.
And I'd just like it to be known, he's the only one that's ever done it.
Okay. Okay, the next on the agenda is the animal control report, which we have none. Police report, the next one, which we have none. Now we need to review the discussion and, possible action on the city, budget. Yeah, let's go ahead with this, already that time. I'm gonna jump up over the budget report and go to number 9, discuss the possible action of hiring a city attorney. Sir, would you like to step forward?
Be glad to. Good evening, everybody. My name is Wayne Olson. I'm a former law firm called Taylor Olson, Edwards, Raleigh. I've been talking some with your Mayor Pro Tem about coming out and answering questions you might have, and for Shawnee, the city attorney. I brought my associate, Lindsay Hale, with me tonight. I'll meet you all. And I'm just here to answer any questions you might have. My firm, basically, we practice in municipal law. We represent about 50 cities as city attorney in Dallas, North Texas area. And we have cities all over about what they need. This is and we represent cities from very small cities like yours all the way up to cities with populations over 50,000. And basically, we perform their services on a routine basis. So, I'm here to answer questions that you have, questions about whether we might be able to help you or not. And we're here just to see whether or not we can be of service to you.
Mr. Laux, do you have any questions?
Is that all the same to you, the biggest city and the little city?
Is it all the same?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm not sure I understand the context of your question, but absolutely, all of our cities, we treat as our clients, and we give them whatever assistance they need. Obviously, we have some cities that we'll take a phone call from very, very occasionally and answer questions you may need help with a particular matter that comes up. It's a big issue that needs some help with that. We might just have questions that need to be answered by phone. Other cities, some a little larger cities, will attend one of our city council meetings, and will attend adjustment meetings, and some commission meetings, and development corporation meetings. It just depends on what the needs are in the city. We have over 20 lawyers in our firm who all specifically practice in this area of the law. Now, I'll be quite honest with you, it's quite complicated. Even issues that a city of your size has are not easy to resolve sometimes.
Business is business. You make the same recommendation to a city with 900 people as you do a city with 40,000 people?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There are different issues, there are different practicalities that come out of that. But the law doesn't change.
Law's black and white.
Laws are the same in black and white, unfortunately. Very complicated. I've been practicing this for over 40 years, and I don't have one of the attorneys in my office because I can't know all the issues that involve cities. It's very, very complicated. Every time the legislature meets, it gets smugged up even more. It's harder and harder to keep track of all this. But the reality is, most legal issues that come up have practical problems that go with them. And, you know, our business letterhead,
It's a very good practical application of the spirit of law. That's what it is.
we are.
I do a little bit myself, so that's what I want to hear. But I'm here to protect the culture of our community. That's why I'm on council right now. So that we don't try to treat our little town like a big city. That's my spirit. That's what I want to hear. That was my question.
I understand your complaint, yes, sir.
Will you come to all meetings?
We'll come up to any meetings that you want us to come to. I understand you meet every other month. If you'd like for us to come here, we can. I'm sitting in the back, watching y'all talk about your financial issues, and I know you don't have a whole lot of money. I mean, some cities have budgets of millions of dollars. You don't. That's quite obvious. And we charge by the hour for our time, and you know, for you to have us come out to council meetings may not be something that you want us to do, but if you do, absolutely, we will put you down. We will be prepared to come out here and help you with whatever issue. You may want us on the occasional meeting. You may have a particular issue that you need some legal assistance with, or just need an attorney to help guide, you know, what's going on.
And I would like to ask that too. I mean, who determines if we're gonna talk to the attorney? Any city council person on here and the mayor? I don't wanna have to we have to go through the mayor before I can call the attorney. How does that?
It's a council decision. Typically, we would only talk to the mayor or the city secretary, but that's a council decision. If you want, you know, before we're confirmed with, if you want to have a council vote on it, that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, we do need to vote on that because, I mean, we have agenda items that don't get posted that we put on and that other citizens have asked for. So I think we need to put that just more than one person can determine if the city needs to talk to the attorney.
Just some practical advice on that. Obviously, if you meet every other month, you could easily have a legal issue that comes up that won't keep until your next meeting. So you need to have some kind of procedure in place so that you can make that decision, whether it's, you know, one person, two people, however many. You can't take a vote of the entire council unless you have a meeting, but if you can delegate it to whoever is going to make the decision, whether or not it's important to contact us, we'll go by whatever rules you adopt. That's fine. We are there and available, but you've got to make the decisions on how you're going to use it.
I think we need to do that, otherwise it's a dictatorship. Because I had several agenda items that I had to tell a woman now for 4 months that we can't talk about the noise ordinance. And somebody else was asking about the culverts. I know somebody was asking about the trash. Did we get a trash compact? And none of that was even brought up or mentioned. So yeah, we do need to talk about that.
Well, we're talking about it later. We're here to talk to this man here. So you don't need to be bringing up stuff that's not to concern him.
It should be a concern to the city. Hiring the city attorney, I wanted to see how it worked.
Okay.
I had a question.
Then just
I had a question.
zip it.
I do not have to zip it. I'm on the city council.
I know you're over city council.
Okay, then don't talk to
You
me.
sure are.
Yeah. We're all voting. Mhm.
Everything?
Yeah, if we have questions like, we would supply you like with a copy of our agenda before the meetings, that way you would see what was coming up. And like on this one, we have one like about ATJ problem, an issue. If it was that or whether it was an ordinance or whatever, if it wasn't your specialty, you would supply someone who could cover it.
Absolutely. And what I would recommend, and that's why I brought Lindsay tonight, and Lindsay got a check with your regular meeting schedule, and she's available those nights if you have that. But just to give you a little bit of background on how we work, like I said, I've been practicing for over 40 years, and this is all I do. I represent cities, and I've been doing that my entire legal career. But depending on what the issue is, we have other attorneys in our office that may deal with that on a more regular basis than I do. Lindsay's been practicing just a couple of years in our office. She's a very good lawyer. I think you'll appreciate having her very much. But even more important, the fact that she knows this stuff and gets it. She's got the backing of over 20 lawyers in our law firm. When any issues come up, all she has to do is walk down the hall or shoot an email or whatever and say, hey, who's worked on this? Can you help me? Do you have any ordinances that I can take to the city to show them that they might want to consider? That's the way we practice in our law firm. We all help each other out on a daily basis. Because I'm not lying about this. It's extremely complicated, and no one lawyer know all that goes on regarding city business. Whether it's an animal control ordinance or a noise ordinance or some other issue that you're dealing with, it's very complicated. There are very specialized rules, and chances are we've written several ordinances for other cities that pertain to the type of issue that you might have, and we can borrow from those ordinances and say, this is what Burleson did. This is what Mansfield did. This is what Euless did. Does this work for you? Or would you rather modify it? So that's the way we practice that. I should tell you going in that, again, we represent a number of cities, just so you know, because these are your neighboring cities. We represent Burleson, we're their city attorney. We represent Cross Timber, we're their city attorney also. So obviously, if that's a problem for you that we represent your my neighbors, then you need to take that into consideration. But we represent you, you are our client, and we have the same attention that those cities do.
I just recently heard girls and other $175,000. I just said maximum is like 50,000. Did I catch that? So the Burleson is up to 75,000.
Oh, 75,000?
No?
Maybe 50, 55, maybe.
Really?
Not 75.
75 is I'm a worker, the person who's on Burleson 75, so it's an associate.
You have anything, Carolyn?
Okay, it's your job to pretty much, you make your living being a communicator. We have a problem with communication. Everybody has an opinion and nobody wants to give. And I don't know if this is the place of the city attorney or not to be a mediator when we get to button heads and whatnot.
Well, let me answer it this way. It's not totally unusual for our city council to butt heads. Each of you is elected. Have different thoughts and opinions on things and different perspectives. And so that's not totally unheard of when it happens. But, to the extent that we are able to bring it all together, you obviously are all on here for the same purpose, and that's the city of Briaroaks. That's your goal here. Do the right thing, move it forward in the best direction. Don't waste time, don't waste money, be practical about how you represent the citizens out here. To the extent we can help you with that, we're glad to do that. We give legal advice. We're going to tell you what the law is. We're going to give you recommendations. But y'all as a council make the decision. And all we can do is guide you and make recommendations. But you've got to make the ultimate decision whether or not you want to do something with it. We'll give you a lot of advice based on our experience, what's happened with other cities, and which one from them or not. But again, that's why you're elected. You make the final decision. You hope to listen to us. You ask questions. We try to help you understand what the issues are, and then you make the call on it. You go in whatever direction you want to.
Yeah, but you tell us the ramifications, the ramifications doesn't matter, correct?
We'll tell you the ramifications, absolutely, and there are times when I'm going to tell you that if you make that decision, I can't defend you if somebody challenges you on it. There's no way that I can justify that. Others, maybe it's a very gray area, and it can go either way. And yes, if you want to go in that direction, then I'll be glad to defend you on that. It is a gray area. But there are some things, there are a few things that are black and white. They're very easy. I can tell you what you can do and can't do. Some things the statute's clear that you can't do something, and I'm going to tell you that. And I will always tell you the truth. I'm not going to say you can do something that I don't believe is proper. But, other things, I'm gonna tell you, well, if you do this, then here are the things that could happen. If you don't do it, here are the things that can happen. Sometimes you have to take action on things that you don't want to, and other times, it's just optional that you need to do that. The best thing, I think, is, we can just kind of lay it out for you. What does the law say? Are you crossing the line, or are you staying within the bounds of what the law says? And you make your decision on what you want to do there.
And if you're representing us, you're gonna be proactive, right? If you see something coming, whoa, wait, no, we're not gonna go that direction. Even though we have brought it up.
Yes, I will tell you, and I would say that tonight too, about, communication. Absolutely, we see something, that we've been asked to weigh in on, we're gonna tell you. We're gonna say,
What I'm saying, we haven't asked you a thing about it, but you see us headed in some direction. None of us have heard.
yeah,
Then you're gonna bring that, because you're representing. You're gonna bring that.
to the extent that we've been involved in it, yes. But again, I want to emphasize, we only do what you ask us to, and, if you don't pick up the phone and call us and say, hey, is it okay for us to do this? We're not going to necessarily be able to know what's going on if the police is here. You're going to have to involve us in order for us to be able to say, whoa, slow down. That's not what you want to do. There's a different way to do that. If we know about it, absolutely.
Said if you're at the meeting and you see it happening.
Yeah. Here, if one of us is here at the meeting and you're proposing to do something that there's just no way you can do that, we'll take it. Absolutely. We'll put you down on that.
Anybody else? All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Very much.
Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay. So nice.
Thank you all.
Thank you a lot. Appreciate you guys.
We can ask you what it charges.
We had that before.
Yeah, 8 votes last meeting, yes,
It's in the minutes. It's in one of
200
the-
and something.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
So he would be 235, and the lady would be 210.
Okay.
On the proposed budget for 2022, most of the numbers were rounded, even numbers, just to make it a little easier. The total income is listed at 74,000. That is what I would consider an in-between number. Each year it has gone up. In the past few years, it's gone up 10,000, 11,000, back to 9. So the state comptroller number will probably exceed the 50,000 that's listed. The co-op is going to be probably within a few $100s of the 20,000 because it has increased faster than the others. Telephone franchise, it may not make the 2,000, but with people going to cell phones and doing away with landlines, that number is going to continue to drop. CD interest of 2,000, that's pretty much what we determined last year. municipal court until we get a policeman that's gonna stay at 0. So the 74, it's like every year, it's a fluid number. I don't know how else to describe that. If you think it's too high, we just have to take something out of the expenses to cover. It just has to balance. And then getting into the expenses for the general account, the electric bill is normally around $900, give or take. So the 1,000 should cover it, even if they have an increase. It should be close. Payroll service is $1,200. That should be a little bit higher than what we actually pay them. TML membership is around $900 also, but it's at 1,000. Storage unit 1,000. If they have an increase, it'll hit 1,000, maybe a little more. Street repair 10,000. That will probably get eaten up in a heartbeat. If we ever need anything, street signs $1,000. That should cover that. Volunteer fire department donation, which I don't think we have paid some this year, but it's in there also for next year, $6,000. The election software systems, $1,000. Election supplies, $600. Election judges, $1,700. That's for 3 judges. And then there's the Johnson County election bills, $500. That's a little bit more than what we paid this year. City attorney, I just put in $7,500. That can go either way. Audit, it's a wild guess, $10,000. It's probably low. City secretary, $6,000. Secretary training, $3,000. Treasurer salary, $3,000. Secretary phone, $1,000. Office supply, $400. Internet, $600. Postage, $280. Give or take. Mailbox rental, $200. Safety deposit box rental, $220. Excuse me. Total FICA and IRS around $2,850 for a total of $59,850. Then getting into the special account, municipal judge $1,500. Judge training around $150. That's our half. Cross timber will pay the other half. Judge travel expenses $450. That's also half. Police officer salary $6,000. And I believe Jerry talked about it. We might want to raise that number. But that's something to discuss at a later date. Police officer training, $100. And that is actually one thing that I did not include on income, is that when we have a police officer, they will provide so much money for training every year. And this $100 is just going to pay for anything additional. But until we get one, I don't think we're going to. It'd be crazy to get training money and not use it. Animal control salary, $900. Police vehicle, and it's getting old. I don't know where we're going to find the money. So it's just got question marks. It's something that we really ought to think about, talk about. Vehicle liability insurance, the $2,400, I believe that's through TML. I think, Vehicle repair, $1,000. That can go either way. It's not in the best of shape, but it runs. Gasoline, around 400, that number is a little higher, because we do get a police officer soon, price of gas has gone up, you all know. Dog food, $50, that was just a number that was thrown in there, that we used before. I don't think it ever reached that much. And police and animal control funds, $1,200 a year. And for special account, the total is $14,150, both special and the general added together, $74,000 matching, $74,000.
Can I ask some questions?
Yeah.
City interest, you have 2,000, but then when you add up the monthly, times 12, I don't come close to that.
The ones that are listed on the monthly are just the ones that the interest goes to the savings account. If you look on the quarterly, you'll see a lot.
Okay.
There's 8 cities total.
I don't think there's enough money in there for the election judges. We had a hard time getting what we could, and we even paid more money.
That 1,700 is actually higher than what was paid this year. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Did it?
No.
But it was 2,000 something,
Yeah.
2,300.
Well, just keep in mind that anything that you change here, you've got to offset it on the other side, so. And granted, these numbers, they're never going to be exact. Some
Well,
will
she
be
made
plus, some will be
2160.
minus.
Yeah, we paid 2160 in payroll this year.
Yeah, because the election payroll, it was $2,160. That was for 4 people.
Was it 4 people?
Yeah.
At times there were not,
There were 4 this year.
yes, because.
That's why it was 2,000.
Because you can't 100%, probably shouldn't 100% rely on those 3 people available the entire time. So that's why there was 4.
So the 4th was added to complete the coverage. Is what you're-
They made that decision because you all allowed them to make those decisions.
Okay.
Yes.
So anyhow, that number can go up or down. So, as needed.
And with the city treasurer, I assume that y'all wanted to do for treasurer, which we have so much stuff going on that right now.
I don't know, maybe somebody will
That has-
volunteer.
This is our secretary and our treasurer, that's what her job description says. So, they haven't changed the job description.
I said not it. I said not it. He said it's the one.
And the municipal judge, we haven't voted on that either. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. What do you think about the police officer, what's got here? City justice salary for 6,000.
What does, Russ Simmons do?
Policeman,
What do they do for police?
they call Johnson County. They didn't, at one time, they would have liked to spread the cost with our policemen, but our policemen didn't have the time to police both areas. So they said that they didn't have that much crime or anything over there, and if you notice, their roads are in terrible shape, and they twist and turn, so they don't have a lot of speeders. So they decided to rely on him.
I think it should do that. Because that police car is 20 years old now, 19. And how many hours did Paul Stevenson work a month? 20?
We need to discuss That's not the point. If they want to, if they're happy with the county, and we want to go that sort of direction, where we want to hire a police officer and possibly they want to go with them, that's what, but hiring a police officer entails, I think, a lot more than a lot of people. If you guys want to start doing this enforcement stuff out here, it's, I really think there's more to it than a lot of people want. Working in your own neighborhood.
I didn't realize that our police officer, I couldn't call her complaints.
No, can't.
So,
He had a quarter of the capabilities of what one patrol officer had. And virtually no backup.
personally, that was scary.
He just wasn't going to get into a situation like, well, he didn't go on.
Well, we're having more and more traffic as it develops across the tracks. They're coming through here.
Can I say something? Yeah, seriously, you live on my street, and I'm not talking about the California slow rollers. All the time, people blow that stop sign at Valley View. I've seen them come through there. I paced a girl the other morning at 65 miles an hour down Ward Road at 6:50 in the morning. That's, I'm low. Somebody needs to start coming out with a little cash, and maybe they'll start obeying the stop signs on that road. Because I cringe every time I come out of that street. I have to stop, roll both windows down to see if I can hear them coming over the hill. It's not so bad coming eastbound. The ones that are coming westbound to fly over the hill and blow that stop sign at 30, 40 miles an hour. Don't even slow down.
Delivery trucks are the same way.
I've seen them going on in Harbor at night, they'll go over that too.
Yeah, it's getting dangerous, and somebody's going to get hurt.
I have a question. If we don't have a police officer, we do, but if we have an agreement with Johnson County, do they only come out like if you call, or do they patrol? Or is there
You're on 911 right now, you're gonna get Johnson County.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying in general, if we didn't have a police officer, but you had a contract with Johnson County, would we have an officer out here on a regular basis?
It would probably behoove you to have the constable out here, because the county guys, they're way overloaded.
This is what I brought up before. We should probably be in contact with whatever constable precinct we're in and tell that constable we have a lot of voters out here.
Yes.
If you control now and then.
Yeah, they don't have to be out there constantly, but I guarantee you, they can write several tickets in a couple of hours on the street.
The constable is a resource we should be looking at right now.
That's going to be more beneficial. Like I said, the county, I work in law enforcement in Tarrant County. I know how short-staffed Johnson County is.
Yeah.
So the constable will be the one to contact, saying, hey, send your guys out here when they're done serving papers. Let them sit out for an hour or two, twice a month.
They've been on my street twice in the last couple of months, sir.
Yeah.
So, but they're busy doing that.
Yeah.
If we talk to the constable about what we need, tell him we have some voters, he may want to work something out. I think the constable is a very good resource we should be tapping into.
Yeah, you're going to get more results than him.
Yeah,
than with the sheriff.
That's very good, because we don't know who to talk to. I mean, you talk to the county sheriff, you talk to the police department in Burleson, or the police department.
Burleson did not help us.
Right.
Burleson did not. Now, if we talk to the constable, whatever precinct we're in, problem is, I think we have two precincts.
3 and 4, I think.
3
No,
and
there are
4.
two precincts.
2 and
Oh,
3,
there's
I'd
two.
say.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, I think we're in two
We're
different
at two
precincts.
different,
Yeah, we are.
but there are
I
benefits.
think it's 3 and 11, it's on the vote list.
Yeah.
See, that's an issue, but we take one we're primarily or most in, we go to that constable, talk to them, they're gonna know each other, okay? And we'll get good sound advice, and he can help us, give us resources or whatever, they're not just gonna say, get in, so.
At one point, we did have a constable years ago.
I have one.
They came out.
I just have one more question about the police officer. You mentioned something about you get money for training for that officer. Is that a lot of money, and are there requirements that you have to have in order to receive it? You mentioned that there was training money if we had an officer for the city. Is that a lot of money, and is there requirements in order to receive it?
Two years ago, it was like $681 or something like that is provided by the state.
Okay.
And,
What are the qualifications for that?
they have to keep up their certification every year, and that helps them pay for it. So that the officer doesn't have to pay for it, so the city doesn't have to pay for that part of it. It's just a service that the state organization does.
Okay.
I like the coastal idea.
It's something,
You should talk to
I think it's something we need to check into, because for us to get set up on everything else.
I'll volunteer, Phillip.
Yeah, I volunteer Phillip. It's right there, Abby.
I think we should just leave it in the budget. It's there if you decide to hire a police officer next February. Because if you don't have it in the budget, you can't.
You have a meeting, you have an amendment to the budget.
If you have somebody who says, I want to be a police officer, I'm retired from police or whatever, you have the opportunity to move forward. And then you don't have to find money in your budget and juggle things around. There's no problem putting it in the budget. If you don't spend it, you don't spend it.
But like he said, if something goes up here, we have to take it from somewhere. So, I don't have a problem with needing it, but
Yeah, just leave it.
the constable may need something from us to help us.
Well, and that, you can pay it out of that.
Honestly, I think what we have to do is just, if everybody is okay with this, we need to post it for 30 days out there, and then we vote on it on our next meeting, so that it's in place when we start our meeting.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
you had a neighbor, a retired police officer, that expressed he may be interested in the position. Is he still interested in the position, or are we entertaining that idea, or we want to check into this other option first, or where are we at?
We're fixing to put an ad in the paper. The word of mouth, has not brought any names to us, or to me, possibly that I've talked to. Yes, my neighbor indicated that he would be interested in it, but he has, I think I mentioned once before, he had to get his certification back. The last time I talked to him, I asked him how he was doing on it, and he said, was something, would be about 10 days. Now, I haven't actually talked to him, to see if he is interested in, or, his ad produces anybody. Now, I want to say this, you brought up, or I believe it was you, about the constable instead of the police. Now, I recently talked to a couple of officers, and they told me individually that they could give me or give us an answer if we call them when they come out here. Now, they give me, said I could talk to, I believe it was Crawford, and get his take on it.
Yeah, the constable works with the justice of the peace. The constable is also a court.
Yeah.
So you have to go to the justice of the peace and make a deal with him on what the constable's gonna do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So I didn't the time, I didn't pursue it because there was 2 or 3 people that said they were interested in the policeman's job. So, I can't pursue it, go back and start talking to them, they willing to.
If you know the constable or the JP, then we need to talk to them.
Huh?
If you know the constable or the JP, we probably ought to talk to them just to explore that option.
Yeah.
Unless we're really interested in your neighbor, who seemed to express an interest in the position. But
Well,
I'm willing to
Johnson
explore that.
County has said on an emergency, they will come in.
They do. If you
But
call
they won't
911,
come in and patrol the city. It's not their jurisdiction. Now, if they catch someone, if they're coming down the county road and they catch a individual running a stop sign, they will stop them. And if they come in to Briaroaks, they will follow them in and issue them a ticket. But like, for misdemeanor type stuff, you know, they're not gonna do it.
Not unless we put that agreement in place, that's the other option too.
We've always had a,
I see an outside agency as an advantage over a Briaroaks policeman. One advantage is a Briaroaks policeman would be seen as working for the council. Okay? An outside agency is a legitimate law enforcement agency. Citizens will not feel like they've been targeted by a Briaroaks policeman or a Briaroaks council when they show up. They will not be showing up to you to pay a ticket. They will be going to the JP court.
you know,
You follow me? It's just bad neighbor business. The other way around, in my opinion.
Well, we don't make money on tickets anyway.
Nobody does. Everyone thinks that's revenue.
Most of it goes to the state.
By the time you pay for the cop, the car, the gas, the train, the insurance, the courthouse, the judge, the attorney, nobody makes money on tickets. I don't care what
Well,
anybody thinks.
I'm just saying, like, most of the money for the ticket goes to the state.
I didn't know that.
okay, and we'll post the, KSU poster.
It's posted.
You got it? Okay, all right. Okay, now we need to status on the CPA.
Well, we got an email from the one that we were hoping that would take us Friday, and basically said, I'm sorry, no. And they must have done some research on us and didn't like what they thought, because we didn't even have time to give them, but they were supposed to send, us more information of exactly what they wanted. So I didn't get a response, so I emailed them twice, and then I called the man, Frank Steele, and he said, oh, I'm gonna have so-and-so, Dory, I believe, look into this, and we'll get back to you. So the next day, she sent me an email and said, I'm so sorry we haven't responded earlier, but I don't know, it's our workload is too much, or we just basically can't be your audit right now. So I reached out to a friend of mine who's a CPA, just to see about getting other notes, and she's referred me to another CPA that used to be the president of the Fort Worth CPA. Yes, my ideas?
I looked at Joshua. Joshua uses Clifton Larson Allen, LLP. They're basically out of Minnesota, but they have an office in Fort Worth. So we wouldn't have to pay for room and board and travel. Well, it's not that much. And I did get a phone number. Their office is at 801 Cherry Street, Suite 1400.
You said Clifton?
Yeah, Clifton Larson Allen LLP. The website is CLAconnect.com.
Okay, perfect, we'll call them tomorrow.
Do you have a phone number?
It's, they have offices all over the country.
You have the phone?
The phone number is 817-877-5000. I mean, I kind of looked at their audit and it's pretty thorough. And if y'all can afford, maybe we can.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're bigger than we are, but not that much. And I'd rather have somebody that's a little bit more.
Okay?
Are we even ready for an audit? I mean, you really need to prepare, gather the stuff before they show up, and you can't afford them.
Oh, yeah, well, they have to tell us.
Well, yeah, we might have
It was just like a treat, they just wanted to get us to get them some stuff to say they were gonna work with us, and we need to get that one.
Well, we need to gather up information, because that way it's, you know, here's a box.
Yeah. See what they, okay.
Okay, we'll check on, this new one.
Is someone specific going to make that contact? Okay.
You want to, Terry?
Yes.
Okay. The last item on the agenda is ETJ frontage.
They declined.
Oh, they declined?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I guess, and someone will make a motion if we adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Okay.
Okay.